Hi, my name's Ben Burton-Smith. I'm one of the writers and the producer of the show.
I'm Johnny Darrell. I'm the director and one of the writers of the show.
This is our commentary for Boom Boom Sabotage, and you're going to hear from a bunch of different production people, and we're going to be talking and telling you a whole bunch of crap.
We'll be yammering.
Full yammer.
We're joined by a couple of our main animators. We got
Chris Buckley, animation supervisor.
Mike White, lead animator.
And Whitey, why don't you tell us about this scene, because you got pretty stoked on it when you read the script.
Yeah, when I heard there was going to be some Smash involved, I went around the studio, found some old printers and VCRs, and threw them around the parking lot a bit, get into the vibe.
Mike's really violent. It was actually a really good choice for him to animate the scene. It was sort of let go of a lot of aggression as him taking out on the animators. It was a really good choice by Johnny. I really appreciate that decision.
The thing is, Mike cries himself to sleep, so...
Every night.
We all do, Ben. We all do.
Very wet sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway...
But yeah, it's like I like the pirate vibe of this guy, so it's
rockabilly.
Rock that TV.
Johnny was the motion capture. Johnny, the director, was the motion capture actor for Hamshank here. Did a great job to stand in and beat the hell out of the TV.
I have the same proportions.
He does. His stomach's a little bit bigger, and he's got 2 hooks.
Yeah.
So.
2 stumps, 2 hooks.
Yeah. I don't know how he works, but.
I love the music in this part. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Carson killed it.
Kicking it.
Little harmonica at the end. Sweet.
Harmonica.
Hey, Logan.
Hey, guys. Logan McPherson, editor, animation director.
So here we have a scene where our villain has to, get everybody motivated and try and get them their job back.
It's kind of Grimley's Tony Robbins moment. It's his big motivational speech. And we kind of really wanted it to have a sort of political feel to it, because he's manipulating them a little bit and appealing to their emotions. And he's a pretty charismatic guy. He's pretty good at it.
They've been eating beans for months, drinking Screech. It's time to get them some more money and get a job for them.
Yeah, and they're still hanging on. They still have some hope. Things are low, but
his speech has been cut down considerably here. He went on a tangent there for a while.
Yeah,
and cut
delusional
it out.
tangent.
Yeah.
What was he talking about?
Sort of Damocles being fervid and deaf.
Yeah,
something.
The adjutant of a whetstone
to keep it keen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have this little moment here where he wins their hearts, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, the 6-toe reference.
Which in the original script had a bigger story, but we just threw it in as a little.
Yeah, and it ties
extra.
in again later with the mayor.
A little Nixon there.
And we're in.
My name's Brian Carson. I'm the composer on the show. And I could say one thing just about this, the drummer in this track. We actually taped the headphones, duct taped the headphones to his head.
And yes, we have behind-the-scenes footage of it.
He was flailing so hard the headphones wouldn't stay on. It was either that or he actually is half deaf, and it's the only way he can actually hear what's coming through them. He's got to tape them on.
Yeah, the drumming's amazing in this. So there's Switch Mitch bailing. Those are all our pro skateboarders that we had on the show. As you can see, they're all pretty big names in the industry. I'm pretty stoked on being able to get them.
We want to do a little throwback to sort of the 80s skate scene with the board graphics there. Gil, our art director, kind of really hit it, I think. Everyone sort of picked their flavor, and Gil kind of worked it into a...
And this is our chance to get kind of tight in on all the boards and kind of show the wheels. That's our total Yeah Right ode right there, ode to Yeah Right. And try to make this scene kind of like build and build and build. It starts off kind of slow, and as you can see, it starts to pick up here, and as we go into the ending of the credits, that's one of my favorite ones there, I think.
Mine too.
Boo.
We didn't want to reveal too much skateboarding. Originally, the concept for this scene was for it to be all sort of really arty shots, and no, we don't reveal cut at all. We don't reveal any tricks. And then we decided, you know what? Let's do that for the credits. Sprinkle some skating in there to sort of whet the appetite, and then launch into these skate scenes.
We had originally placed a track here, and it got kind of late in the game, and I remember agonizing over phoning Brian and being like, we're gonna need to rescore this, but your response was great. You were stoked on it. You really wanted to do it.
Well, you had someone else's track in there, and my name was coming up as the music by.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was dying to do this part.
Yeah, Carson's a liar, and he was kind of scared to get busted on that. But yeah, this track's sick now. We're so happy with it.
Yeah.
Probably get
Super
replaced.
fun. Got a bit of a Bad Brains feel to it, which was one of our original tracks that we had in here.
So you're leaving this in?
Leaving what in?
This piece of music?
Yeah. You're in.
I think it's gonna make the cut.
But you still need to buy me some beer to
All right.
final the deal.
Speaking of beer, Ben and I wrote a lot of this next scene, and Sib.
But yeah, we ended up on my back porch on a sunny day and last summer, a couple summers ago, and it was a competition to make each other laugh. Who could say the more ridiculous thing?
Burns my bum.
And then I laughed my head off and spit beer all over the floor.
Yeah, it was a fun afternoon. The mayor here, he's kind of a high-tech junkie, but in reality, it's all just a facade. He's still back in the 80s with his, his 2600s and...
So he's got that faux image of like, I'm all high-tech, but really everything behind.
And there he was, all the skateboard tricks are
Lame.
wrong, and so he doesn't really know what he's talking about. It's all for show.
Venereal hellbonks to reswitch. You can go to the doctor and get a cream for that.
So Mike Dobson playing the voice of Grimly was awesome. He just did a stellar job, and we couldn't have asked for a better mayor by Colin Murdoch.
Yeah, those guys were hilarious because they did this scene together, so they were riffing off each other, and and our mayor is based off of our CEO at Mainframe, Rick Michelle. We designed him to sort of be the ridiculous mayor, which he finds both a compliment and a diss at the same time.
We actually auditioned Rick to play the voice of the mayor, and he bombed.
He
No,
was...
we know he could do it, but he's just just didn't have the gusto we were looking for.
Totally. So here's a little bit of a preview for Downhill Jam, which is new skate vid coming out, which Mitch was playing there.
A little taste.
A little taste of the future.
And in the background here, no, that was in the previous scene. We saw the mayor's office in the background.
Douche, big, huge Chalmers grab there.
There's a giant wrecked spaceship in the back. Crashed UFO.
Yeah, Lincolnville's sort of a town of the past that used to be a bit more of a theme town, a bit more of a Walt Disney kind of, a cheap version of Walt Disney. So this is the scene where we crush Grimly's hopes and dreams.
The mayor doesn't want to have anything to do with Grimly anymore.
So much for family.
I like the little heartbeats here. That's a good call, Ben.
Yeah, the sound guys did a killer job.
Flat line right here.
And then we wanted to do a bunch of jokes, and with 3D, you spend so much time building everything, and it has a little more of a, cost involved. So we want to do these little one-off jokes, and we end up doing most of it in 2D, which is sometimes limiting, but, we thought they were hilarious. We liked that cheap sort of Ren and Stimpy kind of humor.
Yeah, we were going to put more of that later on in the film.
And then Logan, he had a hilarious idea when he was doing the online finishing touches for the show, where he made Grimly's face all red, and it's just super funny. So that's coming up. right there.
Just burning.
Yeah.
Slow-mo.
Which is what I look
on-
like in the sun.
Slow motion on a Segway, slow motion on a penny farthing bicycle.
Sissy slap fight. I mean, anybody with a younger brother knows about this.
In the motion capture, we had Donovan Stinson and Andrew the Monkey Duncan, one of the animation directors. Donovan played Grimly and Andrew played the mayor, and they just came up with that little slap fight thing.
And that's kind of how we ended up resolving most of our production, problems on the show, is that we would just pair off and have sissy fights, and whoever won the slap fight, sort of won.
I ripped Ben's toupee off. And that's where that idea came from.
He tore all my back hair off. It was great.
I like how the toupee means power for some reason.
Which might be a little too close to the truth for anybody that's sans hairs.
A little shiny on top. Gavin McLeod, get out of the sun. You're blinding me with your head.
So this again is another scene that, Brian Carson killed with the music, and just it's great. Just super stoked on these Carney themes. Okay, so this is when we introduce Frank, who's based on Tony Hawk's real father, who's passed away, but was pretty huge in Tony's life and supported him throughout his whole career, and really pushed him as a kid, and got really involved with skateboarding back in the 80s.
Yeah, Frank was also a pretty heavy player in the skate industry, I guess. For a lot of the kids watching this, they might not be aware that Frank's dad, or Hawk's dad, was a big player in the National Skateboard Association back in the 80s. So he was a huge part of skateboarding and basically making it what it is today in a lot of ways.
And they did a lot of skate events, and they did skate events all over North America.
The whole contest circuit. And
Yeah.
Frank really helped push skateboarding in the right direction, and especially with vert skating.
Totally. And so right from the very first creative that we had in 1999, I think it was, with that Tony and some of his friends wrote, Frank was an integral part of that, and they wanted him, to sort of be that Navy guy barking orders, but he's super cool with the kids. So, here's a scene with Grimly and the Carnies, and there's our monkeys coming to get ya. Carson did a great song here, which is super funny, and this was technically a really difficult shot because there's so many things to load in. And so many characters, so many vehicles, so we did a bit of cheating there. Hey guys, I'm Tony. But that's what you gotta do in low-budget movies.
So this is Tony when he finally meets all the kids for the first time. It's kind of a cool moment. Get the intro to Jesse, the little bad attitude, little brat.
Introduced our firecrackers, which are gonna come back and haunt you.
A little bit of foreshadowing there. It's Marshall, our total white trash piano tie freak.
So you ready to head on over to the Civic Center?
So one of our animators, Francis, did most of Frank's facial animation, and he really played with swinging his jaw and making him sort of this old man character, which is great because Frank's here to wear these ridiculous glasses and make everyone laugh and rock a fanny pack and
crucial part of this show. Is really
members
cool
only jacket.
Here's Hawk's first vertical skateboard run. Got crossbone air right there. 360 varial. So this is actually one of the first mocap cameras that we set on the show. So it's kind of fun to be able to play with a vert run right off the bat. And again, that was all Tony Hawk's mocap. The firecracker. It's super psyched that we got a firecracker in the show, which is the rattle down the stairs. So this was kind of a mix of some of the other skaters we had on the show.
Because Tony was only able to do the vert stuff. Like he was only able to do the vert skating, so
we
used other skaters,
Chalmers,
and Haslam, and a bit of Mike McKinley's skate stuff to fill in the gaps for these kind of scenes, and Jesse Boy as well. So,
and we got Alex Chalmers right there doing the frontside flip over the corner.
which is huge. Check that out in the behind the scenes because it's super sick.
He like totally built like a pool corner pretty much, or kind of this like little corner hip, and I think it really played nicely into the show. It's cool. Keep that sense of realism going in the skating.
Yeah, and it's funny because we realized that our capture volume, our literal space that we could capture in, was too small for Chalmers. So because he just goes, he would be launching right out of it. So we kind of had to hold him back, which is kind of
it's pretty
ridiculous. And you know, if we ever make another one of these, then we're gonna have to get 2 systems so we can just deal with him blasting so huge. It's
a few times we even had to tell the skaters to air a bit lower, which is kind of an interesting thing to say.
Later. Marshall, can you make sure Frank has all my numbers, your cell, email, all that stuff?
Yes, sir, Mr. Hawk.
All right, we here's our Kearney base camp, and it's set in an abandoned water park with a Polynesian feel to it. So here's some motion capture mixed with some keyframe.
Yeah, Chris again, animation supervisor with Mike, lead animator. We're just gonna talk a little bit about how the procedure of animation works on the show. Some of the characters were motion capture, some of them were keyframe animated, which means the animator actually moves the model.
We motion capture the guy getting blown out of a cannon.
Yeah, that was Mike. We took a couple takes on that. He lost an arm, but that's okay. He's got another one.
Oh well.
How it works is that we have basically, they're like puppets. It's like stop motion animation, like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Whereas we manipulate the character within the 3D space in the program, sort of setting a pose, saving it, setting another pose, and saving it, and the computer fills in what happens in between. What we sort of decide if it's going to be keyframe or motion capture on the performance. If it really needs to be over the top and unrealistic, it's going to be keyframe for this show. Whereas the motion capture is quite realistic. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, like with the keyframe, it looks far better on non-realistic characters like the stilt guy or the ham shank pirate guy or elephant. You can just get more expression and you can really punch the shapes and the motion, you know.
Like this is motion capture here, but then a scene coming up right after that would be keyframe. This is keyframe. It's a little quicker and snappier.
Yeah, it looks like a cartoon, cartoon.
Yeah, because that's what we're making here, Mike. We're making cartoons.
This is a cartoon.
It's a cartoon.
Yeah. It's a tough call. Like the elephant in the background, motion capture. We motion captured an elephant for that. It was a difficult procedure.
And it's very expensive. We ate up all our budget on that elephant.
Yeah.
And it ate up all of our
our craft services, which is difficult because Ben runs that. And he's pretty protective of craft services.
And here's where I threw Ben. I actually suited up. Ben suited up. I grabbed Ben and huck him.
It's beautiful.
So we actually did the motion capture of Tony Hawk at Tony Hawk's Boom Boom ramp in his own facility, and Adam Hansen, who's right beside me here, he helped basically set up all the cameras for inside Tony Hawk's warehouse, which was kind of an elaborate setup.
So yeah, we ended up having to put some of the cameras up on the top of his ramp, some on the bottom near the sides, and even in one of the side rooms that was overlooking the ramp, we threw a couple cameras in there looking through the glass. We were only able to capture, a quarter of the ramp, so we only got half of his tricks. But
so we pretty much aimed the cameras kind of high so we could get all the tricks. We weren't as worried about the flat ground of his skating, so we kind of had to make that choice, and I think it was a good choice to get all of his tricks and the volume of him going in the air rather than worrying about the flat bottom. We just kind of worried about that later.
We pretty much cut around all of the flat bottom stuff too.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that was a good camera choice for us. Is not showing the whole lines of the skating you're about to see. So we kind of just made the camera choice of showing the tricks themselves, and as you can see, it cuts before you see him go across the flat bottom. And I think it's a more dynamic way of showcasing the vert skating, anyways, which is cool.
And it's awesome because none of it was really exaggerated at all.
No, not at all.
All the tricks are exactly what he did, right?
Yeah, we really wanted to go for that, realistic skate feel of Tony. And this is actually Tony doing all the tricks of DJ and Todd and himself, which is pretty cool. You can imagine in 1 hour we got all of that skating from Tony, and you'll see a whole montage at the start of the movie as well. So
And a bit
there
at
you
the
go.
end, right?
Yeah, and at the end too.
Take a breather. Okay, it is officially on.
So this is where the carnies kidnap Tony when he goes behind the ramp, and the kids start to get a little suspicious about what's going down. I think DJ and Todd are vert skaters, are made up vert skaters, and all their mocap is Tony, like the guys were saying before, and so they're kind of
like our little fill-in skaters to kind of just keep the vert montages more elaborate, which is cool.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Tony?
The kids are in mass confusion, wondering where Hawk went.
And the kids, we ended up getting a whole bunch of clothing samples and stuff from Birdhouse and from Tony's other sponsors, and we ended up picking logos and stuff that would sort of fit. Same with the skate graphics. We ended up getting a Haslam graphic, and then we got a flip graphic. But most of the T-shirts are Birdhouse and their hats, which is obviously Tony's skate company.
Yeah, and again, I think it really helped just making the look of the skaters more realistic and keeping true to the skate culture. So it's little small details like that I think help out the show.
Same with Tony's shoes. Tony's shoes are specifically, a pair that he rocks.
Yeah.
And, it's those little things, and even though Sage is kind of he doesn't have any logos, but he's pretty specific.
Yeah, to a certain kind of skater, kind of the more
He's
core underground artsy
his
guy.
shoes, they're Asics or something.
Well, I think a little bit of a combination of the Asics and a little bit of Lakai as well in there. So we wanted to kind of make it look like a old school skate shoe.
Some hybrid action there.
Yeah, I think the textures on the skateboards as well were so important. They're all scraped up and stuff. You'll see that throughout the movie. But I think it just adds so much to the texture and the aesthetic of skating. And, if they were brand new, pristine looking boards, it would just, obviously be unrealistic and boring. So I think...
There's a funny story with this phone, is that the phone was basically, that Frank had was super small, and I remember the animator calling me over and was like, yeah, the phone looks really small. So we were like, okay, just scale it up. Keep going. And literally, we ended up having this crowd of like 6 people standing around laughing because the phone was so massive. And then we were like, screw it. It's ridiculous. Let's do it. So that was kind of...
Yeah, it was pretty fun finding all the reference for the phone, too. On the Google search, you see like all these crazy old school phones, and oh my God, some of the ones...
They were almost that big, though. I mean, that's not even that far off.
That was like totally right on par.
So here's our Tony lockdown. And got him gagged there. It was a little gift for Diane Hansen there. She really wanted to make sure that he was gagged.
Here you get a good...
Not sure why.
A good look at Chris Haslam's board here from Almost Skateboards.
Yep.
The textures and stuff again.
Look, kids, do me a favor.
So yeah,
building.
Uh-oh. No one believes the kids, right? I mean, I was a kid once, and no one believed me.
Me too, man. Hated it.
Totally, it sucked.
No one ever
Actually,
believed me.
So here we are at the grotto, and Tony's captured and thrown in a shark cage. The scene was much longer originally because our villain, this is sort of the James Bond moment where the villain exposes his plan to the hero, and I threw out his... Love that. Love that. And so he exposes his plan to Tony, and in doing so, he goes on a tangent that goes nowhere, and I just love that little scene, this little scene here.
We're just going to talk a little bit how the motion capture was developed over the show. What we did was like a lot of all the human characters, the kids, Tony, the pro skaters, we tried to mock up them as realistic as possible, just normal, straight up. We didn't change anything. With Frank, a little bit over the top because he's getting sort of more into the sort of weird area. And then with the Carnies and Grimly, what we did was with the motion capture actor, we took a lot of reference of old cartoons that were really pose to pose, like hit a pose, hold it as hard as you can, go into the next pose really fast, hold it as hard as you can. And he tried to emulate that. So Grimly's a little bit more cartoony and fantastical.
Donovan did an amazing job. It was not easy for him to do these scenes, all these scenes as Grimly. It's extremely tiring. He did an amazing
He was
performance.
exhausted at the end of every shoot, yeah.
Luckily, though, we were able to see his performance on the character during the shoot, right then and there, so he could adjust his performance based on that. And I think it helped him quite a bit.
Oh, it helped him visualize. Like, he could look at what he was doing and then see what the reference we had from a bunch of old cartoons, and he'd go, oh, okay, I'm not holding this longer, or I'm not hitting this pose hard enough, or I'm just not over the top. Like, we wanted huge arcs, arms going everywhere, big, huge legs, because Grimly's legs are just so awesome.
Strong poses, great silhouettes.
Yeah.
Must be, this is rather awkward. So, you been a skateboarder for a long time?
Clean up to the grotto. Love the lighting in here. Craig Shields did a nice job lighting this, and his lighting team.
So what room was it again?
238.
So room 238
236.
is Tony Hawk's
And
hotel room.
So
Keep that
interesting.
Keep that in mind.
It's an emergency cut.
This is
You gotta risk
when Cut and Kit
Have a
have
moment.
a moment together, and Switch Mitch is jealous.
Yeah, actually, in the script, in the original script, there was a love interest that was building between the two, and we were like, nah,
Nah.
rip it out.
You think Tony got hauled off against his will?
Yeah. He's always getting
So this is one of my favorite sets. It's just textured and lit so nicely. Like, just the ceiling. The ceiling's rad, and then the carpet's crazy. And it's just, yeah, we're inside a boat. We're inside the Titanic that crashed. And
The Titanic?
The
Titanic.
Teutonic.
The Titanic. Titanica.
He's always
For all you
doing...
Mr. Show fans.
So this is a little nod to one of my favorite movies of all time. And
The Shining.
The Shinin. We don't want to get sued.
There's Johnny Darrell, our director, riding the tricycle.
Yeah.
Big Wheel. I got
Johnny's
one.
Sorry,
good.
Big Wheel. That's right.
I have one.
Correct.
We actually
music is
measured
awesome.
Johnny's jaw to get the right proportion.
Talk about the music here, Brian.
Okay, the obvious Shining reference with a banjo. So there's a little deliverance there too. That screechy sound is, I have a string bass, bowing it behind the bridge, and just making the worst nails on the blackboard sounds you can make.
So DJ's room is 237, which is a nod to The Shining as well.
Please notice the squish sounds.
Along with a ting.
Yeah.
Hard and squishy.
So here's our little session going down with Sage and Mitch. We got Mitch filming, so we kind of wanted to, do a little ode to live action skate culture a little bit. So this is kind of what the teenage skate scene does a lot of these days, which is filming and skateboarding, going out and filming their friends. So
everybody's trying to get sponsored with their sponsoring
Yeah.
video parts that they send all the
got the
skate companies.
Crooks pop over the board sides. This is all Chris has them footage here. It's really nice to get all of Chris's actual bails, as you can see here, all his falls. So again, just kind of trying to get that skate realism.
I think it's cool to show a bunch of different bails too, like, because you don't fall the same way every time. I mean, something so subtle.
I love this push in. Just gets so messy and ugly.
Hey, isn't that
Right
DJ?
here.
Yeah.
Grr.
Creeps tossing him
Again, the sound effects are just awesome.
Yeah,
What
so-
they did with the skateboarding,
Yeah,
it's just
totally.
really been helping it a lot. It's awesome.
So the Ranchero is based off of my 68 Ranchero.
And this skateboard pushing here, it's just one of those things with motion capture that really got me stoked. Is like you just can't get that kind of pushing from keyframing, I don't think. And I think the motion capture pushing that we got is so necessary for, all these chase sequences, and even right there with Jesse grabbing the ladder. It's really, keeps the skate look live action-y.
There's our mayor saying goodbye.
I thought I had this music totally done perfectly, and then they made me redo the whole thing.
So basically what happened there was we had some temp music that was really mellow, and it was it a Melvin song?
Yeah, we had Junebug by Melvins.
And then later we were kind of like, man, this is a bit more of a tense scene, so we ended up putting Motorhead Emergency in there, and it just sort of completely changed the whole feel of it, and we got more stoked on that. So after we'd given Brian the temp music, he scored it, then we were like, hey buddy.
Make it harder.
Make it harder. I want a double kick.
It's a lot better than it was.
Yeah, I think just overall the whole feel of it is just a lot more fun, and it's tense.
Who's calling you?
Casey Kwan is calling you.
Maybe we can get him
Who's
on the
our,
speaker there.
Who's our production designer and CG supervisor. Couldn't show up today, the jerk. He basically, because we changed our pipeline, he's the one that helped us make sure that, we did it right.
The only time you see Chopper Chuck's eye is through the periscope.
Did you guys? There should have been a maple leaf on his helmet. Right?
Yeah, well, we originally wanted that.
That's
We had it, and I can't. That's probably something I took off for some reason. I got cold feet.
If you ever meet Johnny
You can blame
Darrell,
me.
If you ever meet Johnny Darrell or see him, this truck is just so Johnny Darrell. It's not even funny.
He's actually a WWF wrestler.
I would love
Johnny
to have
Darrell.
that truck. If I could take my '68 Ranchero and do that.
What you do? You're making big bucks, buddy.
Yeah, right. Back to the grotto.
El Grotto.
I found this great wet fart sound on my Moog keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which really goes with them talking about pee-pee and poo-poo.
It's Moog.
Moog.
No, it's Moog.
Whatever you guys.
Stop
So
fighting.
lame.
God.
We'll take you down on this one.
So anyway, I specifically asked Carson to use a Moog in this scene. It's a keyboard.
Yeah, we wanted the scene to have, or both grotto scenes to have like that Forbidden Planet kind of feel, only underwater, I think. And then, yeah, and so we went. Brian went all Moog on us.
This is one of the scenes that we ended up getting to the mix and just going, wow, the music, kill it. It got too emotional. It felt, no offense, but it just felt a little too
Too
much.
heavy-handed.
Too heavy-handed,
too
too
on the nose,
cheesy,
yeah.
and was just like, if we just threw a kid into a ditch off of a truck at 60 miles an hour, so, and then the Angels came.
And that guy's pitch is good. Who is that? Is that one of the skaters?
Yeah, that's Brian Drummond, I think. Was,
He's got a career as a singer, I think.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Brian Drummond, who also plays Hamshank.
Yeah.
Did a great job as Hamshank.
So good. He also looks like Hamshank. Just like Grimley looks like Dobson.
So this scene was much longer originally too. There was a huge fight scene, and Grimley actually gets to sissy slap Todd, but just due to time we had to cut.
So yeah, there's there's our little hammy and a snuggly for any of people out there with little kids. You know what the snuggly's all about. Strap a kid on and get to walk around. I think Austin Powers did it as well, but don't tell anyone that. This movie came out before that.
Yeah, way before that. That's true.
Now that I have your attentions,
Yeah,
Tony?
You're right. The lighting in here rules. All the skeletons and high contrast.
into character. Hamshank.
Okay, my name's Ben Burton-Smith. I'm the producer and one of the writers on the show.
Logan McPherson, editor, animation director.
Adam Henson, motion capture tech lead.
Mike McKinley, skateboard layout and cameras.
So this is our sort of tribute to Wallows, this big drainage ditch section, and we did a bunch of reference when we drove down and did the mocap shoot with Tony Hawk in San Diego. So we found a drainage ditch, pulled off on the highway, and broke in and checked out all the stuff, got a lot of stuff. So this is basically where the look came from, is a place just off the highway.
Well, if you compare this to Animal Chin, you'll notice that shot for shot and trick for trick, it is the exact same sequence.
Especially that backside kickflip you just saw.
Yeah. Haslam's playing the part of Lance Mountain, of course.
That's Keegan Sauter, boneless one right there for you.
Which is some nice old school.
Yeah, mixing it up.
So yeah, we did our whole skate shoot at in Vancouver with a bunch of skaters like Haslam and Keegan and Chalmers, and built our own skate park inside our motion capture facility. And
we really try to mix up the old school and like more new school tricks as well. So you can kind of see a pretty cool mix, like this trick for instance, and then a few seconds later you'll probably see something old school like a sweeper. There you go.
So Adam did tons and tons of blends from one skate trick to the next.
Yeah, we ended up with a huge database of tricks, like, because of our ramp setup was modular at the mocap shoot, so we could sort of simulate the Wallows set and have the skaters just bang off trick after trick after trick. So we ended up with this massive database that Mike would then select tricks and pick the skaters' lines throughout Wallows, and then give that information to Adam, who would then take it from there.
And then we put it all together in Motion Builder, but because the program's pretty versatile, so we were able to change tricks in the middle of it if we needed to, mix things up.
I think for us, for the freedom, like when we did a bunch of tests for the show, I think about 4 years ago, just mocap wasn't ready for it. Like it just would have been a nightmare because we wouldn't have been able to, shoot as much and to be as flexible with putting this trick with this trick and that kind of stuff. So the whole show would just be a bunch of edits from trick to trick to trick, and it
there'd be
probably would have looked pretty lame.
No lines at all.
Yeah.
And you couldn't pre-visualize it at all because it would have taken way too long. So
totally.
And because we would once Adam would blend all the tricks together, we now had this piece of action that we could look at and evaluate and throw as many cameras on it that we needed to, dump the cameras into the Avid, and cut it more like a piece of live action. But the great thing about it is that action always exists, so we can always go back and put more cameras on it if, we felt the sequence wasn't totally cutting properly or could be better. So it could always be improved, which is both a pro and a con, I guess, because you could sit and tweak it forever. At some point you just have to abandon it.
Yeah, and there was so many tricks to actually choose from in our database, and I think one of the hardest things was making sure that we made use of the best possible tricks that we had, because sometimes we'd forget about some of the stuff that we did have, and we also wanted to keep really true to all of the actual personalities in the show. Like Keegan was a really good mix for Jesse, because he did a lot of the old school and new school.
Yeah.
And like Sage was pretty much all new school tricks, which was played by Haslam. And just really technical, yet could pretty much skate anything, and I think that was important for Sage's character.
Totally.
And,
Sage rides Haslam's board too.
Yeah, just pretty funny.
And both those sections are scored by our main composer Brian Carson, but we had additional composition by Johnny from the skate rock band Streets come in, and they composed together, and it's pretty sick to see them collaborate the way they did.
Whatever. Right now, there's far more important things to do.
Yeah, the water filtration was so exciting when we finally saw all the final textures on it, because it was just like it went from this really slick looking kind of this boring bitch, and as soon as all the lighting and the textures were added, it really gave it this awesome kind of coarse skateboard look. And I think we were all pretty excited when we first saw the set come to life and the skating come to life. It's pretty cool.
Totally.
I like how you think Mitch is gonna crack the case right there. He's got more important things to do, and he goes back to playing his
Yeah, this
video
full
game
pipe
junkie.
section here, the full pipe section here was it wasn't meant to be really that good near the end because we didn't really know we didn't really have any full pipe mocap, so it was supposed to kind of be a real quick thing, and our quarter pipe transition that we used in motion capture ended up fitting on the full pipe, which was really cool, and it was a bit of a fluke. So we were able to really actually have a pretty decent montage in the full pipe. I think it's ended up looking really cool, and the lighting was awesome too. So.
And I think, I mean, that's a good point because making these movies is sometimes organic, where is you expect that something's going to be just 2 shots and are like, whatever, they'll just ride down this pipe and they'll have headlamps on and they get to the next spot and, you know, let's not overthink it. But, you know, then something like, you know, Adam's like, yeah, well, this mocap's going to work in this section. And so then we're like, okay, well, let's light it really cool and let's have it more of a sound. We're not going to have music there, so we can have the sound guys can be, you know, stoked on that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a breakthrough when we figured out that it was going to work. It all of a sudden opened up, you know, oh, well, we can use all of these tricks.
Yeah.
So we can get all the kids skating the full pipe.
Hey everybody, I'm Casey Kwan, and I was the production designer and CG supervisor on this project. This is kind of cool, this area with the lighting. I really liked what Craig and his team ended up coming up with, because really this is such a difficult area to light. One of the things that Johnny said from the get-go is like, I want it dark. I don't want to see anything. And I think, you know, the trick when you're trying to do something like this is to just turn off the right lights and leave the right ones on to make, you know, the image really strong in terms of its composition. But it was definitely a transitional period from a narrative point of view. You know, we're coming out of the Wallows, we're going into this full pipe, and we're coming out in the Carney camp. So we really wanted to change the mood of the movie and take it to more of a darker area and a darker place as the kids find out for real for the first time that Tony has been kidnapped.
Let's take a look.
It's a pretty cool little reveal of the Carney camp here. Get a good idea of how they spend their off time.
Yeah, I really have to give this stuff to like Johnny Darrell in terms of like he brought the Tiki Camp flavor of the movie to life.
Especially some of that dancing you just saw.
Yeah.
Hot stuff.
I found an old trait, but he ain't believing it.
This was one of my favorite scenes from the very beginning in terms of the subtext of what's going on here.
For sure. It's a nice little bonding moment between the two. You're about to see a twinkling flying star. It's kind of this moment where they just feel like everything's going to be great, but little do they know.
It's all going to be so magical.
Yeah. Again, Donovan's performance, just awesome. Such a great physical actor, and you know he just rocked it so hard in the motion capture.
Yeah, I think his performance really did come together with the proportions and the design of Grimly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we were always worried from the get-go, will his motion work from taking a human motion capture perspective and capturing on someone who's so like exaggerated in terms of their proportions, which is Grimly.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I believe we had Andrew Duncan imitating the wooden peg leg here, which is pretty funny on Hamshank. So he did a great job. It's pretty hard to try and fake and limp like you've got a wooden leg when you really don't in actuality.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think
Totally.
it totally worked. It was pretty funny.
It blows me away that the motion capture even worked for Hamshank with the proportions.
Yeah.
But again, we were really cool. You know, we were able to try that stuff out right on location in the mocap studio and see for ourselves and evaluate those things.
Yeah. So you're about to see Tony in the absolute make fun of Tony as hard as possible in this scene with the chicken suit, the turkey suit, and that's actually me on the Razor scooter.
You did a fine job on the Razor. I was very impressed by your performance.
Tried to be as awkward as I possibly could, but we really wanted to do a bit of a mock on the whole Razor scooter lifestyle, and I think we did a pretty good job. It's kind of like pretty much the worst sport to skateboarders, to the skate culture. So it was kind of fun to make fun of that.
I could see that. It's a skateboard with handlebars.
They're always in the way at the skate parks, you know, like we just, I had to give a dig on those guys. Or we, I should say.
I loved how the mayor turned out in terms of his whole character, from everything from the design of his suit to, you know, riding the Segway to his office. I think it, you know, it really came together in terms of a real defined language that was, you know, the mayor.
Exactly. I never hooked anything like that. You know, all our limo drivers lost their licenses last year at the Monkey Awards after party, right?
What does he say on this next line coming up? He says, is it, when he has that call, does he say, he's French? Is that what he's saying?
I believe it's he's French. So,
there he goes.
John here. Hey, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I love his voice so much. It's so perfect. It's like he's got this permanent cold or something. But yeah, I think the segue again, an ode to our CEO Rick Michelle.
We should just get him a Segway.
Yeah,
It'd
I think
be
he should
awesome.
just be rolling around the mainframe hallways in a Segway.
And a spacesuit. I think that would look very good.
Yeah, for sure.
Some circus people took him.
So again, this is the kids trying to convince Frank of what they've seen. And yeah, there you go.
All I can see is blurry, shaky footage. I've seen Sasquatch footage clearer than this.
F-Dog, this is Tony in the turkey suit.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Guys, really.
We got a Sasquatch line in there.
Johnny's a huge Sasquatch in Vancouver. We caught him.
This is the limbo scene. It's
Broken
motion
neck limbo.
captured. We actually have Donovan doing the martial limbo there. Donovan's actually doing this.
Complete with neck brace.
We have photos.
That's the power of movie magic.
Here we have the beatnik scene. Love the music here.
I timed the bongos.
Took him 3 weeks.
Yeah. Actually,
Went over budget for that timing.
I love how Marshall just kind of pops up from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
A turtle bummer cat.
Johnny, what was your beatnik inspiration for this?
I don't know.
scene?
I just wanted him to have a different type of personality to show him off a little in a different light than we've seen him.
So Mimic is actually kind of reminiscent of some old neighbors of mine back in Ontario, which some old farming culture.
He's got
very homely.
He's got a Sasquatch on his hat.
And an Evil Knievel jumpsuit.
With sort of man boobs, which we like to call moobs.
Yeah.
So did you go to Sasquatch conventions?
I did.
You
I've
did,
been
eh?
to Sasquatch
The symposium.
symposiums. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
I'm
me too.
actually
I know all about
doing a
this.
documentary on
Yeah.
Sasquatch hunters.
Well, there's actually a portal close to here.
Yeah.
A portal?
We won't get into it.
Yeah.
What the?
It's a hot spot for Sasquatch. And yeah, our documentary is called Yeti or Not, Here We Come.
So obviously, if the Vancouver Travel Board's listening to this, we're gonna get in some crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychic activity according to some, and there's like portals that these interdimensional Sasquatches come from.
A friend of mine saw a Sasquatch ass, just the ass.
Really?
Just a floating ass?
The ass, the ass is
There's
supposed
a
to be
floating Sasquatch ass.
Just on its way into the portal.
You sure it wasn't just a big hairy floating toupee? Or
I love these. This
The
is
hungover
great.
morning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Too much screech and beans.
Yeah.
Ooh, those beans are coming to get ya.
No, don't get me started on beans.
So yeah, this is our spring 'em from jail scene.
That was ukulele to intro the scene, and I actually have a red Flying V ukulele. Not that anybody cares, but
Johnny,
Pretty
crickets.
sweet.
Crickets,
Pretty-
Johnny, crickets.
you can hear it. Oh yeah, the crickets are coming in.
So the big fireworks scene. The carnies are. What I love about this is, they're just fireworks.
There's nothing more. There's
There's-
nothing more than fireworks.
They're
and
not doing
firecrackers.
any actual
It's not
damage.
dynamite.
No, and every kid can relate to fireworks.
Roman
Battles.
10 balls, shooting them at your best friend.
Yeah.
I think this was actually ended up being like we didn't really have a huge effects budget, and it's kind of funny. So script wise, we ended up just saying, okay, we're gonna put everything in this fireworks and a little bit of fire in the Huck Jam, for when the motorbikes go over. And the guys spent weeks just killing it and really made this scene just over the top.
Yeah.
And tons of smoke everywhere, which is
Music.
difficult. Moving cameras, like all the no-nos that you're supposed to not do for effects, we were like, we did, and they did a great job and loved it.
I really love this track.
Yeah, this song rules.
This is drums and one guitar. Not that anyone cares.
That's it? I paid for what? Seriously.
There's no
We're
bass,
talking
which-
after this.
Here
after
comes
this commentary.
here comes A-Team.
Yeah, the big A-Team.
Uh-oh.
The only
Look out,
thing...
it's a firecracker.
It's ridiculous.
We exaggerated the explosion a little bit there, just for effect, but it is just a firecracker.
We motion captured a truck.
Fireworks.
The only
Look at
thing we're
that.
missing here is a fruit stand. He should have
Chicken
plowed
stand.
a
Or what
chicken
about
stand.
the glass? The guy's walking across with the
Yeah.
glass.
He should have
and they
jumped a
smash
shark.
through them.
That truck should have been wearing a leather jacket.
And watermelons. Watermelons explode. Super sweet.
And I like this.
They're also for tender love.
Yeah.
I like this track too.
Cud so deadpan there too. What the crap are you wearing anyways?
Oh,
great.
my favorite bit of music. Leonard Skinner showed up at Carson's house. And the band, not the person.
Crickets, Johnny.
I'm always late on these crickets. I have to be prompted.
Oh, and yes.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Come on, it's an
Good aim.
action adventure for kids with some humor.
Hey, I'm buying
What do
it.
you expect?
I got Tony in a turkey suit.
Warning flare. Okay, here's another
Plucked.
great moment here. Jesse's firing at no one.
Yeah.
There's no one there.
But he's got to expend them, so
Yeah.
it's all fun.
Yeah.
You can't put them out.
For the special edition, we'll be fixing that.
Ghost Ride.
So please buy lots of copies for your nephews and nieces. And... Well, what are those things on his chin? Chinuts?
Sometimes known as
Chinsticles.
chinuts, others
Chinsticles.
chinsticles.
This is all me, mocap.
This is Johnny.
We rented a penny farthing, and I did all this.
He actually did do the Russian dance there at the end.
He's actually doing the Russian dance right now.
Yeah. And of course the scorpion
Oh,
coming up.
and the little
Listen,
little
listen.
toot.
Right there.
I believe you perfected that on my half pipe.
Yeah.
If you go back
in North
to the
Bend.
scorpion, you see he has a little fart, little poot. But look closely,
Listen,
and there's
listen.
a little there's a little shadow that comes up. So we actually put that in at the last minute because we were like, it looks like a fart.
And homie clowns.
Love the tune.
This is Ishkan emceeing on this. Best to watch out, these clowns will hurt you.
I love the stare down too.
Yeah.
Tell we're all
shoulda-
white.
That's one of my favorite shots.
Yeah,
We
the stare
should have
down.
wanked the stare down.
Yeah,
more,
it was
built
going to
up
be
more.
really big. Like
Yeah.
these guys are going to go off and have a
Yeah.
fight.
Except we actually got scared that they would start fighting, so we cut it shorter.
There was a scene where
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Grimly laughs of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Ah,
he sounds so
the monkey
stupid
wrangler.
crazy.
Yeah.
the albino monkey wrangler, cuts all over him.
So originally in the script, we were gonna do all the kids had a different chase section with different chase scenes, and that carnies were attacking, and when Funimation came on, was our American distributor, they were like, this is pretty young, and so we decided, okay, well let's keep the monkey sage one because it's
Sick.
ridiculous, and that's Dave Priest's huge frontside 360 back there, and now we got Savage Monkeys with
Love the
Carson's
music here.
Carson's fluting.
Love the horns.
He's a fluter. Flutist.
Just happened to be a rope hanging there.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is the best though. The snorting sound guys with little pig snorts
Yeah.
in as they fly by camera.
That's Marcel. His snorts.
We motion captured a car doing that.
No.
And of course. Look out.
Yep. These clowns ain't gonna hurt you anymore.
Look at the savagery.
Oh, little Family Guy nod
Family Guy
there.
rip there.
It's a nod, not a rip.
Bit of a rip.
Nod.
You're a nod.
This is where Hot Wheels really came in handy. Having done a mainframe, having done some of our animators worked on Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I was a producer on Hot Wheels.
Right.
Great.
Although you
great.
could never tell that from the show.
Awkward.
Awkward. Watch out.
And Mitch.
This is Mitch's bonding moment.
Laying
with
the
homie
smack down.
clowns. Obviously, PETA is going to be quite upset. Although no animals were hurt during the making of this animated picture.
Great pose there from Grimly.
You love the crotch shots, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Grimley's though.
Yeah.
This big black telescope too.
This is a great track.
Yeah, the previous chase section we left all without score. Brian had kind of felt like he was scoring too much, so he talked us into some for the sound guys, and we got really stoked. And there's lots of great sounds and nice break between the score. So
good call.
It was a really good call.
Even got you to take a piece out in another section.
Yeah, we got to the mix and
the kids on the road.
It just played a little too heavy-handed with the music in.
Yeah, it got too emotional, and we were having a little bit of a cry, and it's a bit upsetting, but we worked through it, didn't we, Brian?
I love how Grimly's concerned about the waste of Screech. Homemade moonshine.
Well, at the end of the day, it's cheap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a budget to hit.
You know, you can relate. You can relate, can't you, Ben?
Yes.
In a way, you are Grimly.
Similar plights.
Similar plights.
That's how the kids get back to the Civic Center.
Yeah.
There's another scene added, but
yeah, we ended up cutting that scene, which I think some of us are regretting.
This movie, as you can tell by this commentary, was going to be like 6 hours.
So we were trying to combat with Lost.
In this scene, I wanted we couldn't do it due to time, but Grimly was supposed to be taking advantage of the free creamers and sugar.
I thought you were gonna say something else. I was like, I don't remember reading that draft.
So yeah, he was gonna be drinking the creamers and eating the sugar. The set got kind of switched around a little bit, and they're actually coming out of the closet. Which is
they entered through the closet.
Movie magic, baby. Movie magic.
Yeah.
Quite a few people came out of the closet on this show.
Whoa.
I mean the characters in the show.
Gross.
Oh, nothing.
And was it I and my fine little goon here that chased Mr.
So this was originally much longer, but cut.
Frank just attacks.
Go for
Love
it.
it.
He's had enough.
He's a Navy guy. That's what he would do.
Yeah,
I love that
He's
little
gonna listen to some
handshake
speech.
animation.
Trained Navy SEAL.
You know, this was hard for Marshall because of his neck injury.
Yeah.
What,
Very resilient though, Marshall.
injure his
Very
neck
resilient.
It was at the Monkey Awards after party.
Oh,
he was the only one, ironically, to keep his driver's license, his limo license.
Frank's a bit of a contortionist
Yeah.
there as well. Squeezed himself into that bag somehow.
It's a Dungeons and Dragons bag of holding.
I don't know what that means.
I think that's only half of Frank in that bag.
Yeah.
Oh,
The other half is still lying on the floor.
Yeah.
That'll be for
And now they're going back
B film.
into the closet.
Oh, movie magic. Now they're in the home.
So this ending went through about, 10 versions before we ended up with the current version here. And
Yeah,
originally the kids were all, they still showed up in a similar fashion, but they were more a part of trying to thwart Grimly's efforts individually. So Mitch had his own his own sort of storyline, and where he was chasing down Chopper Chuck, and Kit was tracking down the human cannonball guy.
Yeah, and there was like monkeys that were chasing someone, and Mitch sort of supposed to nail his trick, and we were just like, you know what, this is
just too complicated.
And really just wasn't ridiculous. And and as we previs and we're making the show, we realized that Grimly is so not coherent in the decisions he's making. So his big ridiculous thing is just to put on a show, whether it's he's gonna go to jail or not, or get busted or whatever. So we were just like, you know what? Let's
make
it
it
to
simple
and ridiculous.
And it's Grimly, right? It's Grimly's moment. Let's build it up
Totally.
to Grimly's big moment. So we still have the guy Todd or DJ. I never know who's who, but in the canon.
That was DJ, I think.
Jod.
And we still have the monkeys, but now the kids are all captured, so they're one.
And Cud and Tony, have been left at the back at the Carney camp, so they arrived to sort of save the day, but not really. Like
as in the fireworks battle, Grimly's his own undoing.
Yeah,
really. I mean, Cud sort of pushes him to.
So basically, just any kind of loud noises or distraction will screw Grimly up. So he's really not a villain. So he's just like, oh no, somebody's yelling loud and flashing their arms, and then everything goes to crap.
Here's where the turning point.
Yeah.
The crowd's loving it. They all think this is part of the show.
Yeah.
This is all based out of like all that fire and the look of the show is all based from the Boom Boom Huck Jam, which is crazy. We saw it in Spokane and it was nuts.
I think we should still pitch this idea to Tony and the Boom Boom Huck Jam that, they pretend it's been taken over by a mad circus.
Right. Well, what's kind of funny is the guy that played Grimly actually kind of looks a little bit like, you know what? Now he's going to hear this and he's going to think I'm the biggest jerk ever. I'm not working on the next one.
Find your own Grimly. And he
I
talks
mean
like
that as
that.
a complimentary way.
He actually, in real life, sounds like Burgess Meredith.
Do you think any kid's going to know who that is? Man, I barely know who it is. It's just because my dad had his posters on the wall.
He was the original Penguin in Batman.
That's right.
So yeah, penny farthing over the boom boom jumps. Yeah. It's a movie. So Carson went off here, obviously. Yeah. Brian, talk about the music, cause
let me go, and I will go.
Yeah, that's kind of how we treated Carson.
I could have gone further though, because I'm looking at these guys. They're so straight-laced and everything, and I'm thinking, producers aren't that cool. I better hold back a bit.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Me and Brian buy suits together. It's pretty sweet. No, it was good, man. I think we went off and made it. Brian made the music ridiculous. The picture is like, look, monkeys on a stick attacking children. Anyway.
This is the best.
Climbing up a vert ramp on a penny farthing.
Why this is part of his grand.
Yeah, when we were spotting the show for the music, I'm saying, why is he riding the bike up there?
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Because that's how you get up
I'm trying to figure
there.
out the motivation behind it.
Yeah,
that's how you get to the top of the ramp.
Yeah, Grimly doesn't do anything the easy way. It's always the hard way.
Well, he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah.
I love this.
He can do it.
I love this Cud music here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cud's hero music.
So,
but I mean, this is Grimly's final stunt,
totally,
right?
This is his big finale.
Things have gone wrong, so he's doing what he can to make sure that he still gets his moment of glory.
Awesome facial pose there. Whoever did that on the show.
Tiny little bit of squash and stretch here on the fall.
Kiss.
Yeah. And back down.
Ah, the sounds. Yeah. Sound guys rule here. Oh, flapping lips.
Here comes his moment. At one time, we talked about, throwing. Yeah. I mean, we did a good job, I think, of making it ridiculous. But at one point, we were gonna have, a mom from the stands fly through the frame, and we were gonna do 2D at one point, though. Yeah,
we were gonna do him jump in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
Tony
dream
Hawk's,
sequence.
Tony Hawk's, I guess, hero is Evil Knievel. So we were gonna do an ode to Evil Knievel. So
building to the
Snake
corner.
River Canyon.
Dream sequence right here.
So here's our ridiculous
Jumping.
monkey, or there's a
elephant
in the background.
on
An
top of the
elephant is
world.
actually based off of our associate producer Nicole Makala, because we were like, we needed to build a character.
The elephant's name is Nicole the Farting Elephant.
Yes, 'cause Nicole's a windy producer.
Love this.
One photograph.
And the shins.
Oh, anybody that's ever skated a vert ramp that shinned themselves
and then one clap
on an air, you know the horror that is.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
Great show. Great show.
But he never gives up hope, old Grimly.
Yeah.
Even here.
Yep.
He's a passionate
Look, call me.
maniac. He's you know.
He's going for the sequel.
Yeah. It's a nice performance by Donovan here as well.
A little kick.
Yeah, I love the kick.
Yeah.
I love Tony's reaction here in the background.
Yeah.
Except maybe Pro Skated 2.
Like,
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, it was good.
but that was the video game. Like when the second one
Oh,
came
yeah,
out, 'cause
yeah,
you
Pro
could
Skater
manual
2 was
between
huge.
everything. Then it
Yeah.
was like that was the beginning.
Yeah.
Frank.
Very Scooby-Doo moment there where everyone's wrapping up. I apologize.
Yeah, so I mean, one thing in which I don't know if we've said already, but this show was originally meant to be for very young kids, like 5. You know, our target market was like 5 to 7 or 8, something like that. And so Scooby-Doo is way more, you know, jokey, and then through the progression of the whole show, we shifted more towards, you know, a 9 to 11-year-old demographic. So there's a little bit of Scooby-Doo left in spots. And there's our photograph.
That triples run was completely manufactured from individual Tony tricks.
Yeah.
And credits.
Which are very exciting.
We're just looking at
Gil once again. Gil's
Gil's
designs
skate art,
speak for
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of people that went over and above in their jobs on a sort of a lower budget show like ours, so that's why we did all these big skate graphics at the end, because they deserved, you know, full credit. And there we go. So
hope you enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
Our ramblings and our yammerings.
Totally.
If you ever want to know anything about Sasquatch, contact me. If you want to know about portals, contact Brian Carson.
Oh man.
Turn it off and go skate.
Yeah. Go to the website, www.boomboomsabotage.com, or check me out on MySpace.
Or Ben's personal blog.
I do have a personal blog, whatever.
He's about 5'10", reddish hair, freckles. For any of you ladies out there that like
I'm an
freckles.
interpretive dance specialist. Carson just bought a boat.
Oh,
He's
really?
like Don Johnson now.
You get a boat, eh?
Yeah.
What did you get?
It's kind of a relic kind of boat.
Nice.
So you got the hat?
I think I'm gonna call it
Beachcomber.
I'm gonna call it Sparkle Dancer.
Nice.
Wreck
or
Beach,
Lady
here we come.
Sparkle. Lady
Nice.
Sparkle.
Sparkle
Lady
Dancer's
Sparkle.
awesome.
Or Her Majesty. I don't know.
Oh no.
No?
Sparkle. You
You
gotta
gotta
have
see it.
sparkle in there.
Sparkle?
Yeah.
Sparkle's nice.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sparkle Dancer.
I got
Should-
one, but it would
Would
be
you guys want to beat him
appropriate.
up after this?
Sure.
No.
I like that.
Awkward. Really. Oh,
Nailed
still.
it. Finally nailed it.
Nice.
That was a little late still.
Timing.
No, the beat was good there.
Pregnant pause.
Okay, so let's say some thank yous for the show. First off, I'd like to thank the Hawks, Tony Hawk, Pat Hawk, and the whole Hawk family, and Jimmy Muhlhausen and Seth Venezia at THI. They've been awesome to work with and really mellow. It's been great.
Bizad.
Yeah, he's one of our previous animators.
Yeah,
And
Bez and Gary.
We gotta
Yep.
mention Johnny from the streets, Johnny Olson.
Totally.
Yeah.
Who co-wrote some of the music with me.
Yeah.
2 sequences in the Wallow section. He was great to work with.
Oh, there's Dave Fracchia. Hi, Dave.
The most polite punk rocker I've ever met.
I'll
Is
get
that
you,
Johnny
buddy.
or Dave Fracchia?
Oh, sorry, Johnny.
No, sorry. I was seeing my friend Dave on the screen. And then who else?
Yeah.
Rick Michelle, obviously.
Yeah.
He let us do this ridiculous show. He said, here's your money and go make a movie. And that was pretty sweet. Greg Little, who's our VP of development in LA. He's been great. Executive producer. Helped out a lot.
Our mocap team, all
yeah,
the
mocap team's
skaters,
great.
Yeah,
the animators.
Yeah, and McKinley for
Lighting
just pulling
team.
the skaters together. Like
Yeah,
Aslan
McKinley
and
knocked it out.
Keegan, and I mean, we never even thought we could get
Yep.
those kind of guys, and it was great. So it just added to, you know, Tony raised the bar, and then those guys, you know, met it. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, McKinley and Nicole.
Yeah.
Without them, the production would have been
Totally.
hell.
Totally. Yeah, Nicole Makala is our associate producer. She basically runs the day-to-day, so the rest of us can live in the clouds.
Sharon.
Sharon Woods, and our
Casey
other producer.
Kwan.
She.
Yeah, what happened to Casey?
Oh yeah, Casey never
I thought
showed
he was supposed
up.
to be here.
Casey Kwan.
Monkey.
Casey Monkey Duncan.
coming
Monkey
in.
never
Monkey
showed
Duncan.
up. Monkey came in.
How can you
animation
forget Monkey
director.
Duncan?
It was awesome. Man, there's so many thank yous. I'm not thanking my mother though.